Released on consoles October 15th and on PC April 23rd, 2020 by developer Ion Lands and publisher Merge Games. Cloudpunk isn't easy for me to categorize as I'm not certain I've ever played a game like this before. Crazy Taxi certainly does not count. Thanks to the publishers for the review key.
Okay, drive on.
I guess I could consider Cloudpunk an adventure game. It has no RPG elements, no combat, no levels to clear. You're just a new delivery driver for this suspect courier organization named Cloudpunk. Cloudpunk takes place over the course of one work shift, one long rainy night in Nivalis. This is your first night on the job, so get ready for one hell of a ride.
I am taking off. I am frightened.
The story is this: you're Rania, a beautiful new recruit to the Cloudpunk team.
What do they call you?
Rania.
You left your hometown in the hopes of a fresh start, some senior cheddar so you can give your AI companion back his dog body he lost, and generally a better standard of living.
Maybe we can go somewhere nicer if Cloudpunk pays us lots.
Camus, life is going to be hard here in Nivalis. You need to prepare yourself for that.
How he lost it, and how you ended up slumming it in Nivalis escapes me for now, but that's the basic premise of the story.
Yeah, that's what happens. You got family back home?
I've got no one. The debt corpse took everything.
Of course, that's why you came here and took the job. You're a debt orphan.
Cloudpunk is a shady delivery service, but in one corrupt and shady city like Nivalis, I suppose they fit right in.
You bring me packages. No questions. No mistakes. We'll be friends. If you let me down, probably not.
I understand.
For most part, you'll be receiving delivery jobs and instructions from your dispatcher, who you refer to as Control for most part of the experience, until he reveals his name and full history by game's end.
Ben? Ben?
Over the course of this one long night, you develop somewhat of a relationship with your dispatcher, who you never truly trust, but do grow to respect to a certain level as the game progresses.
And I'm...
Not in trouble anymore.
This is the bulk of the Cloudpunk experience. You meet new people, deliver shady packages shrouded in secrecy, while you get tidbits of information on the elusive Cora.
You're looking for Cora, remember? I want old data. Where did the name come from? That's your focus.
Throughout the course of your shift, the name Cora comes up a lot. The context the name is used in, however, seems familiar to, if not exactly the way the word God is used and its variations. The same way mankind has created gods to worship over the centuries, creating a god, then referring to said creation as your creator. This is what Cora seems to symbolize in Cloudpunk. But hey, that's just my takeaway. Everything with the exception of the rising of the sun, and such things are subjective, I suppose.
What do you think Cora is?
Cora is everything, and all of us. Cora is the provider, and the caretaker, and the disciplinarian.
So to be more precise, Cloudpunk is an exploration title, or a courier simulator with a deep story. The story is deep, but also a bit incoherent and unfortunately ultimately fell flat by the time the credits rolled.
Fuck off.
Cloudpunk is one incredibly ambitious title. Ambitious to the point that it may have very well hung its hat out of reach.
Keep your mouth shut.
Like I said, this is a deep story. The story is also good, but falls short of greatness. It is told with what I would consider a decent script and subpar B-movie acting. There are really no bad actors in this production, but just about everyone sounds like a bunch of tryhards.
Fuck off.
I'm not certain the origins of that term, but I do know it's not a compliment. However, when I say it here, it's not an insult either. The actors did try, as I'm certain so did the director.
I guess.
But it all comes up short, as most here seem to be trying too hard to come off as believable.
You have the shape of the problem in your mind, but you don't see the details.
And Rania, our protagonist, just falls flat and fails to emote in all her performances.
Thanks.
She sounds like she's reading from a script, actually. Nothing seemed to really bother her. She seemed really naive and too eager to help everyone as well. And by the time she starts to develop a jaded and even somewhat believable personality, it was too little too late and still not convincing enough.
Shit, really?
The performance of the actors was not what made the story lackluster, though. It started from this slow burn, this incredibly slow build-up, which kept me invested. I refused to begin this review before seeing the end credits roll, and I did, but the story just never amounted to anything worthwhile.
Are you sure about this?
It had a great build-up, as slow as it was, but ultimately, it just fell flat in the end.
I guess so.
And this observation isn't so much a complaint, as the game had a semi-casual experience written all over it from the inception. But then there were these moments in game, a lot of them actually, where it really seemed like the Korra thing would and could have amounted to more. And the overall climate the game presented, with the downtrodden, the persecuted, the whole rich climbing on the backs of the poor vibe, and the shots fired at inequality, classism, and an imbalanced society.
Welcome to your poverty safari. This is our life.
While I did not expect Deus Ex, it just felt like this little delivery lady was gonna amount to much more.
I'm just a delivery driver.
What she ultimately did regarding Korra did have a slight Deus Ex vibe to it in the end, but the whole experience just felt incredibly diluted.
If you dilute anything enough, it becomes tolerable.
Again, unrealistic expectations on my part, I suppose.
Oh, you are witty.
I was drawn to Cloudpunk originally by its visuals and overall premise. A no-violence courier sim in a futuristic cyberpunk city. But what kept me was the potential lore, the story. And I must say, complaints and all aside, Cloudpunk was worth the ride. An incredibly ambitious open-world adventure game. I simply wanted more.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And this desire for more didn't come from my initial impressions from videos online. It came from gameplay. Cloudpunk is a game that I found hard to put down and eager to pick up when I did. Simply because, for every delivery you make, it feels like you're taking one step closer to a huge reveal, but it never happened.
Shit. Well, too late to do anything about it now.
Cloudpunk sports some deceptive visuals. When I first saw it, I didn't realize it was voxel art, an art style I was never too big on. Art of Rally did a great job with it, but not good enough for me to be excited about playing another release in this art style. The devs seem to have found a way to make this Minecraft-style graphic presentation look better than it really is. The vehicles do not look anywhere nearly as good as the cars in Art of Rally, but the overall game looks pretty good. And I think this was achieved through lighting. Cloudpunk is one very dark game. It actually borders on being too dark, but just barely made it. The entire game takes place one rainy evening, so you never see the sun, hence you never get a real look at the city. Based on what was said in the end of the game, I expected to at least get a glimpse, but no.
It will be nice to see what Nivalis is like in the daytime.
Is it safe to walk around?
I also experienced many pop-ins and frame drop moments. Not enough to kill the experience, but a lot. Every time I entered a tunnel to go to another section of the city, when I came out on the other side, the frame rate would tank for like 5 seconds. There were also horrendous loading times from one section to the other. Ridiculous, really.
Well, that is the problem right now.
I also strongly believe Cloudpunk could have done well with cutscenes. Cloudpunk is a story-driven game, and incoherent at times as it may be, I believe some cutscenes would have been an amazing addition to help fuel this story.
You know what else doesn't help?
Talking too much?
You're learning fast, Camus.
I do appreciate the efforts expended to ensure voice acting, but the cutscenes would have been your cherry on top, and who doesn't love a good cherry?
I like it.
You can choose to play with a dynamic camera angle, regular third person, or first person when out of your ride. But this brings me to another flaw. Cloudpunk does not feel like it was meant to be played outside your Hova, which is your car. You have to park your Hova and go on foot in order to do a pickup or drop off. And when you leave your vehicle and start trotting these streets, it just feels wrong. It feels like an afterthought.
Well, I was going to say it's below average, but yeah.
The camera is sluggish and your character just doesn't feel right, regardless of the camera angle. And while on the subject of being on foot, it seems like devs figured, since this game has no action to speak of, let's manufacture some hard times. Let's make finding a parking spot a part of the game's difficulty. Yeah, I feel like finding a parking spot is a part of the challenge here, and it shouldn't be. I get it. The game is almost a cakewalk. I don't think there's any way to die or fail really, but creating such an artificial and awkward challenge shouldn't be an option. At least parking is automatic. There's no way to set a waypoint either, and there's no fast travel. And although trekking from point A to point B was never a huge production, I did get lost at times, and the ability to set waypoints would have helped.
You know what else doesn't help?
Then in-game, there are also several elements that also feel tacked on. Like the devs realized there's not much to do here, and to break up the repetition, let's give the player some busy work. and this was not necessary, as the repetitiveness of delivering from point A to point B and the accompanying dialogue was enough for me. I was in this for the story, you see.
You're right.
Now, throughout your shift, you can interact with people on the road, you can buy stuff from vendors, and you can undertake side missions. But none of these things seem like a plus. The side quests were boring and uninspiring. The random persons in the streets that you could talk to made no sense and would be better off as mutes, and 90% of the items you purchased were useless. You can pick up items which you can sell, but money was never a problem in Cloudpunk. I was never at risk of running out. This also goes for gassing your car.
Fuel warning. We need to stop at a gas station. I can keep going a bit longer, but if we don't top up soon, our main repulsors will go offline.
I never ran out of gas, but there's a need to visit a gas station, which in itself is no big deal, as it did add an element of immersion, and like everyday life, some of us have never ran out of gas. And the mechanic shops made sense, I guess, but I never had my car break down due to damage either, so I don't even know what would have happened if it got banged up too much.
Are you going to take the old part back to the mechanic man?
I'm not sure. If I sold it, I'd make a lot of limbs quick.
And as with the side quests and the items and random interactions, you had choices to make. But they also felt inconsequential. I'm pretty sure the choices you made during the game do not matter in any significant way, as you hardly ever hear mention of them again.
Quiet for now, Camus. I have to think.
I failed one timed delivery, and it felt like I was supposed to fail, as again, there were no consequences, no repercussions. There will be at least one time where you need to purchase or find electronic parts to fix a broken lift, or buy something called juice to bribe a bouncer.
I brought your juice.
All right, go ahead.
But these things happened so few and far in between, and also felt unnecessary, and like I said, tacked on for padding. And that's my biggest problem with Cloudpunk. It just felt like a staircase to nowhere.
Who would build an escalator that goes nowhere?
But again, this may have been due to my initial expectations or wishful thinking. Even your vehicle upgrades seemed weak. Most of the upgrades that you have are cosmetic, and the others are few and not very impressive. There's a turbo you can equip and bumpers that let you withstand more damage, but speed was never really an issue in this game, as they spoke about racing and being chased by a corpsec, but I never saw any such thing go down. And the controls, while not terrible and fully serviceable, were sluggish. Even after getting an upgrade to my original ride, the new car still felt slow. So racing and outrunning the authorities was not an appealing notion. The speed of the hover was good enough for these deliveries as well.
Understood.
You could also upgrade your apartment, but this wasn't like your place in Mafia or GTA. You hardly ever go there, and the reasons that take you there a few times didn't seem that important. What I'm saying is, there was no incentive to upgrade or decorate the place.
You're back. I wasn't sleeping, I promise.
I got a new roommate, I bought her a bed, but these two ladies were still talking about sleeping in the same bed. I told her there was no food, so I bought a pizza, and it made no difference. So why have these options? For window dressing? Come on, man. Meat on the bones, man. Meat on the bones.
What does that mean?
The sound here was done well. From the future synth retrowave beat to the fitting score, the ambient sounds help bring the cyber city to life, as all the sounds pulled you in with what's expected from a game set in this period. Music, sound effects, atmospheric sounds, all on point.
I guess that's why I liked you so much. From the start.
I try to complete every game before I review them. This doesn't always work out, but it's my preferred approach to reviews. And when I say complete, I do not mean find every Easter egg, complete every side quest, achieve every ending and trophy. No, I just need to see the credits roll. That's as thorough as I need to be for my purposes. But I say this because I had no idea how long Cloudpunk's duration was before starting up. I barely knew what it was about, but despite all the flaws I saw, Cloudpunk was able to hold me till the end. I may not have been 100% satisfied with the end game, but it makes this no less of a gem. Cloudpunk fills a gap I did not know needed filling, and I'm glad I undertook this review.
That is a strange way to look at things, but not completely inaccurate.
If you're looking for a change of pace, if you're looking for a story or a rich experience that's not necessarily going to be the next big thing, but more than good enough, then give Cloudpunk a shot. I know many are gearing up for Cyberpunk 2077. Well, it has been delayed again, and while this by no means serves as a substitute, it will keep you in that Cyberpunk mindset until December.
In that case, I got you.
AAA games are all well and good, but many times, if you like a truly unique experience, one off the beaten path, then the indie scene is where you want to be. Show your support for independent game developers. Most if not all indie games are priced relatively low. Some are even free with the option to donate, so there's really no reason to pass. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If I pissed you off, however, then we all know where to find the various hate buttons, don't we? Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.
Well, I don't know if anybody has said this to you before, but I'll say it now. Thank you.